And suddenly the board is white.
Yes. And you thought there was one world. Now you're in my world. I do not wish that upon anybody. Only on the good times. Right? So, since usually though, you know, when we talk about how you doing, really what we do, we think about is we go, what the what's. We think about the what's, the people, the places, the things, right? Because we actually associate the quality of our experience with the what. And so, let's start with the what and see if we can work backwards and discover if in fact we do actually create our own reality. So if we start with, so I'm just going to make sure that's on there, yeah. The what. We can say what, you know, we can say a result. We can say an outcome. So at any moment, like we can stop and look at the what, right? So like what's an outcome in your life right now? What's one result in your life that you love?
That I love?
Yeah.
I'm married to an amazing man.
Married to an amazing man, yeah. What's that outcome I love? Been loving doing these videos. That's a good outcome. What's an outcome that you look at and kind of go, I do not like the quality that I blame it on?
Really busy.
Busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, busyness.
Mm-hmm.
I say the same thing, busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could also say money in the bank. You know, basically things we can taste, touch, smell, stuff like that, right? We can always look in terms of outcomes and results or in terms of what, because there's always the given, right? Now, what is it, right? If we say this is the content, and if we were to back up and say, well, what is the context out of which produces or is in correlation with all of our what's, our results, and our outcomes? So like the amount of money I make is in direct correlation with what? What do you think?
What I choose to do.
Yeah, what I do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your relationship, for example, is a great what? And I would imagine that you'll do stuff and you communicate and you do those different kinds of things that really have it be great, right? So the basic level, we could say action, right? Our actions. Or what we do. Now, I would have to say that if you tune into most conversations never really get out of these two things. People are either talking about what they have, what they don't have, what they should have, what they can't have but want to have, what they'll never have, what they're doing, not doing, should do, think they should do, This is the basic conversation that human beings live inside of, right? Actions and outcomes, right? And it's also like, you know, it makes sense that people go, well, if you want a different outcome, just change your action, right? So just do something different, right?
My mom said that to me once.
Mm-hmm.
I said it was some kind of breakthrough I was having around loving my body, and she said, well, I don't understand. If you don't like your body, why don't you just go to the gym?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do something different. And I was like, oh, that's where you're coming from.
Totally. Totally. And it makes sense because, yeah, if you did do something different.
Yeah.
But
I might feel.
But how many of us know stuff that we want, that we could have, that we could actually do right now, that could get us that, but we don't do it? If it's that simple, if it was that simple, if that's all there was, I don't think there'd be any such thing as coaching. There would be a book. You do this, you get that. You'd have a manual.
Life.
Actually, wouldn't that be great?
Life manual.
You just pull out the manual. Like, oh, and you just go do that. And then you get this thing. problem solved. Okay, I'm going to change the whole deal. We're going to write the manual. Here's the manual. Okay, so given that there is stuff that we want, you know that you probably want to eat better than you do, right? You know that you want different results. And you know that you even know what actions to take, but you don't take them. So there must be something going on behind that, right? We're talking about how we construct our reality. The stuff that we can see right with our eyes is this. There must be something going on invisibly in the background that would have your mom say, well, just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that, right? Because if this is all that you know, because the rest is invisible, that makes sense that you would just say that.
Right.
So that begs the question, if we say, this is the content,
Mm-hmm.
and actions and my behaviors and what I do are the context, what if we make this the content? What is the context out of which all of our actions are in correlation with? Everything that we do and don't do, including right now, is in perfect correlation with it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What do you think?
Well, I have many answers.
Give me one.
Our beliefs.
Beliefs, more basic, more fundamental,
Thoughts.
more even fundamental than that. Thoughts are part of it, right?
Having a mind.
Definitely a part of it, right? Something very specific. And once I say it,
Uh-huh.
it'll go, oh, of course,
Yeah.
right? And it's that thing that Heidegger says, that the thing that's most mysterious for human beings isn't what's beyond the horizon, but what's most near to us. And this is why I think this is the greatest superstition, that we think that there's a world out there, that we have nothing to do with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here. Throw me the pen. Did I take an action?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was that action in correlation with? What was the context out of which I took that action?
Your perception.
My perception, okay,
Your
of my perception. That speaks to it.
It was like your perception of something in movement, and then in
Now,
relation to your body.
The actual movement that I took, did you notice, was actually in perfect correlation
Uh-huh.
with the pen coming at me?
Yep.
Right, so I was perceiving the pen, but what had me know, was it based on pure perception? How did I know?
Perception
How did I?
being-
What if I thought that the pen weighed 10,000 pounds?
Uh-huh.
What if it occurred for me like that?
Gotten out of the way.
I would have taken a different action, right?
Yeah.
So how did I know that it weighs this much, such that my actions were perfectly in correlation with it?
Your past experience.
Yes. Add it to the perceptions,
Mm-hmm.
create what I would call your occurring view,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's how you see what you see, which gives you your view,
Yeah.
right? And this, we'll call this occurring view. And if you're not getting it, it'll become clear in a second. Now, the thing about the occurring view, and I'm going to highlight this, because this, I think, is one of our, if we have superpowers, this is our greatest superpower that we don't know about, right? In fact, that this is the basis upon which, when we say we transform, like you go to a course, if you went to AMP or Arte or whatever those things, the next day you looked at your world and it occurred for you differently.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the first indications that something is deeply shifted in you, is things look different.
Mm-hmm.
Same what? They occur to me different, right? So, but we always call the occurring the way it is.